Hello, love. I am joining you once again from the basement in my old home to play some more Hollow Knight. I'm gonna pick up where I left off last night. Seems like I'm averaging about a boss every 40 minutes, which is pretty casual pace, but I'm not doing a speedrun, so I don't think that particularly matters. So we left off, we just found the Lake of Un, I think was the name. Let's see, will it show me? It will not. Lake of Un, yeah. Oh, okay. He's aggressive if I touch him. Oopsie. So, in my original playthrough, I attacked him. Yeah, he seems to become aggressive if he sees me. Alright, fair enough. Oh, and the water is damaging. Okay, I didn't know that for sure. So, because of the water being damaging in this area, I never tested the lake here to prove that it could cause damage. So I needed to at least test that there. I guess since this guy is aggro, I'll go take him out. Oops. Spacing is off. First enemy of the day. Can't blame me. I'm rather tired. It would seem that it turns out like 6 hours of sleep is vaguely inadequate. So, pretty messy fight, but oh yeah, I have the dash now. That's going to be a good time. Anyway, so we just beat Hornet in the last episode, and I started going about my life story and my character arc. I'm sad that I called it that, but I mean it's not necessarily wrong. It seems weird to describe it as such from the perspective of well, I'm not a character. I mean, you could argue that I am, but we're not gonna go there. Anyway, so before I go into that topic, though, let me orient myself. So I think I'm in the big boxy room to the right of those areas, so okay. Well, I've locked myself out of there. I think my plan for today is I'm going to aim for the Mantis village, which I presumably know where that is, if I am going based on memory from my previous playthrough. We'll see, but the Mantis Claw that lets me scale walls is going to be such a huge power-up, so I want to get it as soon as possible. And it'll just make it so I can explore these areas more fully. Anyway, so I guess we'll pick up where we started. So the start of my character arc probably was in undergrad. So undergrad, my first year was relatively smooth, all things considered. I was a relatively high-performing student in high school, middle school, etc. Or grade school, that's the word. So, you know, you kind of establish your study habits and you get to undergrad and suddenly everything is different and you need to learn how to budget your time, manage your resources, and prioritize what needs prioritizing. And of course, my old habits of severe procrastination that I developed and honed to a impressive degree in high school obviously followed me into undergrad. I mean, in high school I was proud of myself for pulling a 3-day straight all-nighter. Basically all of my classes had like major projects due within a span of 3 days of each other, and being the horrendous procrastinator that I be, I put everything off until those last 3 days. Oh, what a turn. Our shopkeep's come home. Just wandered back in. I'd hoped for a grand tales of his time below, but he seems to remember almost nothing. Maybe it was all too much for him. If you're interested in his wares, watch out. He drives a hard bargain, that one. No competition, that's the problem. It's bad for the market, not that he's complaining. My understanding of hollowness can be a little vague, but below those leafy caverns is a fungal grove, once home to peaceful creatures not quite bug and not quite plant. Sounds almost worth a visit, no? Well, there's a downside, the dreadful stench. A noxious odor fills the place. It's fine, I don't have a nose. Anything else? Yeah, just the bench. Take a sit. Oh, actually, did I get another? I forget. Did I get another crest? I did not. Okay. But I'm about to, because the shopkeep's here. Let's see what he gives. Ah, hello. I knew we'd meet again. How do you like my cozy little store? I've made myself pretty comfortable here, selling old trinkets to travelers like you. If you're planning a trip below, I've several items that may improve your chance of survival. Alright, so let's see. This only costs 1. I might take that just for now so I can collect more Geo. Alright, yeah, I guess it's relatively cheap, and I'm not going to be using the simple key for a while, so I'll just grab this. Gathering Swarm, yes. Oh, and we can talk to him if we step on him. I see they've opened that mapping shop across the way. I suppose a little competition is healthy. Perhaps I should start to sell maps as well, or is that a little aggressive? All's fair in the world made of Geo. Pockets feeling empty? If you need some more Geo, take a trip into the ruins below us and hunt around. Just take care not to fall into a haze. I won't be coming down to rescue you. But anyway, so yeah, I built up a pretty strong skill for procrastinating. I don't know if I want to market it as a skill necessarily. Well, we'll finish all the dialogue in this area and then I'll go back to my life story. What else do I want here? Marking the benches will be useful, so I'll take that. Cocoons, I'm not going to run into a whole lot. This will be useful, so I know where the stag coaches are. And we'll take the vendors as well. Those will be useful to know where they are. I'll skip the rest and save the money for the nightlight. What does this Zelda have to say to us? Of all the places to end up, we've picked this dreary town. I thought it a temporary stop, then my husband became obsessed with that old ruin. Now he's spending all his time down there. He argues cartography is a sound business, but other than you, who's buying? Are you enjoying yourself down in the ruins? At times, my husband makes hollowness sound a wonder, but sometimes it seems a ghastly, dangerous place. It's Zote the Mighty. You there, why are you skulking about in the shadows? Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. I am Zote the Mighty, a knight of great renown. Tremble before me. While you were hiding here in your dingy little village, I ventured into the dark pit below us and slew a great beast. It had sharp mandibles and atrocious manners. Yes, all glory to me, but I don't have time for your adulation. I must rest and prepare for my next journey down. That daft fellow over there. He keeps talking absolute drivel. Seems to think the very air is deadly down in the caverns. Perhaps he should consider not breathing. He keeps talking about dreams too. Pah. Dreams are for those too feeble to truly live. What a squalid little hamlet this is. The air is foul and the townsfolk have beady eyes. I'll be heading back down below as soon as possible. Alright, that's it for his dialogue. So I think that... Oh, hey, friend. Hi. Pale thing, you wear the nail with ease. If you're in search of combat, you'll find no great warriors in this decaying burrow. I've heard an arena exists somewhere below, one built for our like. Meet me there and we'll test what skills you possessed. I'll be heading down soon. Come and find me if you dare. Hollow Nest. What challengers await in its ruin? Okay. So I have never actually found the arena yet, or I have yet to find the arena in my original playthrough. So I don't think I equipped. Yeah, I didn't equip this yet. All right, cool. So I'll get a little extra geo with this, so I don't have to like backtrack just for things that fall off of ledges and such. There's plenty of platforming ahead, that's for sure. Let's see, do you have anything to say? This place, we are near the surface, I believe. There is a town here. You should take the opportunity to rest. This place was once full of travelers coming and going. It seems much quieter now. Alright, there's a little dialogue after that. Alright, back to Green Path for now. Anyway, where was I? So, now I can go back to the previous story. So, yeah, I was a pretty terrible procrastinator for a very long time. I would argue I still am, but I've gotten better. As long as I'm not home, I'm much more inclined to not procrastinate. Let's see, where's the stag coach? There, so I want to travel... Let's travel to the left first and see what's there. If it goes down a whole new area, I'll probably skip it, though. I want to head for where I believe the Mantis Village is. So, of course, as I was saying, in high school I managed to pull 3 all-nighters in a row, and that was a magical experience, I swear. I wouldn't quite say I started to hallucinate, but my memory for names just disappeared. I had a friend named Tom, and I had a friend named Arpon, and they became Chambi and Guapo for some reason. I don't even know how I came across those names. Oh, you got me, you sneaky sneakster. But yeah, that happened, and then I had a teacher named Mr. Smullen, who I called Mr. Snuggy for some reason. It was a really awkward day. I think what I find hilarious is my friend's metric for if I was doing okay was they asked me the question, Jeff, which is your favorite Pokemon starter? And I responded, where, I think? it was not a great it was not a great moment in the lifetime of a Jeff, but you know, we we survived. If nothing else, I was definitely surviving in high school. All right, nothing this way, so we'll head back. Little relic, let's see. From moss and leaf our life is drawn, while it grows upon the path we shall never wilt. I wonder if those little statues do anything down the road. I have yet to encounter their purpose beyond flavor text. Which flavor text is, oops. Flavor text is often welcome. Alright, nothing down here it would seem. Let's heal up before we travel further. And have I explored this downwards path? Alright, just a soul recharge. Fair enough. So, anyway, so in undergrad, I guess the reason why I'm talking about procrastinating is I got used to pulling all-nighters. I did them a lot during undergrad as well. There were many a time where I just figured out that I could crash in the dorm room, or not the dorm room, but the common room of one of the dorms that a lot of my friends were boarding in. Let's see, where am I? I think I'm down below, so yeah, I think if I just head straight to the right, going down this path, I should be on the right track. For where I want to go, at least. So yeah, I got very good at pulling all-nighters to accomplish projects, particularly lab reports. My undergrad had a real nasty habit, and it was intentional. The professor said as much because they wanted to weed us out, I guess. But they would always schedule a lab report to be due the night after a major chemistry exam. For our biology labs, and I mean, we didn't really care for the head of the bio department for a number of reasons. Never ask for a letter of recommendation from this man if you want to have things done in a, not, oh my goodness, it's the day before it's due, where is it, sort of way. He certainly didn't earn mine and my colleagues' respect during our undergrad career, but I mean, it's often the case that students tend to disrespect their professors for some reason or another, I find. At least that was my experience, and it likely was to a degree earned, but I don't know if I should have discredited them as much as I did in some aspects. That's neither here nor there, I suppose. It's been a long time since I've been there, and I'm afforded the hindsight where I'm not stressed by exams and everything else, and who knows, maybe my feelings were justifiable back then. I feel like they probably were to a degree, maybe just not to the extreme that I provided them in. Regardless, the point I'm trying to... Whoop, uh-oh. Got in the water. The point I'm trying to make is... I don't even know what point I'm trying to make. Oh, back up. Okay. But, anyway, so... I guess the point is, I got very used to crunch. Which, I mean... If you're following the conversation around the AAA video game industry, we all know crunch is bad, and I should not be proud of it, but obviously, or I guess not obviously, but unsurprisingly, there's that mentality that crunch is good when you're young and you're trying to, you don't really have a sense of what is work-life balance, I suppose. Wow. Wow. I'm doing great here, don't mind me. Give me some HP, my friend. Yeah, so obviously, I thought crunch was good, I got used to it, and it's something that I've had to train myself out of now that I'm a more, I'm a working professional of some sort, if we want to call me professional. I mean, I know it's correct, but it just doesn't feel correct. Mostly because of self-reflection of my base personality. I think this is where the hunter is, so I'm a little north of where I need to be, is that correct? Yeah, this is definitely the Hunter's Lodge, or whatever it's called. Okay, so I need to go back down to the left and then down again, and then I'll be closer to where I'm aiming for. Whew, that was close. Well, okay. Back we go this way. So to the left here, and then I need to go down. And to the right, probably? Oh, just down. Okay. And now if I travel to the right... No, I need to go down further, but I'll hit this bench first just so that it resets my respawn point if anything goes wrong. But anyway, so my undergrad career, I was talking about organic chemistry. So organic chemistry was very much, it started off where I was doing extremely poorly in the class, especially below my standards. Oh, now I remember where the conversation was starting from. So basically, the habits that I developed in high school were certainly applied in undergrad, not to a very healthy degree. But they got me through. But my old habits weren't good enough for what was required of me for studying for undergrad courses, and it reflected very clearly in my performance for organic chemistry, and I pretty quickly realized I needed to modify my way. Oops. Where are you coming from? Oop, oop. This is a pretty easy boss if I recall, so just do your down airs and use your shots when you can too. Oh, you jumped. You fooled me. You fooled me. I might have to focus on the boss before I can talk further. Nope. He gets me with that fake jump. Oh, wow. That was quick. Anyway. Anyway, my habits were not good, to say the least. And they did not... certainly, some study habits were good, but others were subpar, and certainly they were not carrying me through undergrad, and I needed to change I needed to course correct pretty heavily if I was going to have a competitive GPA and feel good about myself and feel that my attendance to undergraduate college was appropriate, frankly. So, but aside from putting in the hours, I got a tutor. The tutor helped immensely for organic chemistry, and I was able to turn my grades around, and somehow, because of all the other things that were incorporated into the grade in organic chemistry, I still, despite properly failing one of my exams, I still managed to pull an A in that course. God bless the curve, I suppose. But because of how much time I spent studying Orgo, I ended up getting pretty good at it, actually, and started helping my friends study it. And basically, I would start holding these small review sessions for my group of friends, where we'd go over the week's material and such. And what I learned is very much so that teaching is one of the best ways to learn something and become an expert at it, because as you try to teach, you realize where the gaps in your understanding fall. And is that all? That is a path, okay. And so I certainly became very aware of those gaps in my understanding every time I reached a point where I'm like, oh, I need to explain this, but I don't really understand how to explain this. And so if we don't count my first year where I was a student involved with organic chemistry and only look at it from the time I was a TA, so I applied to be a TA the following year, and I had a lot of other TAs who saw the work I was putting in, so they gave me kind of recommendations to the chief of the department, and I got the position, and it started off that I was just doing the base level of TA requirements, which were, I think, an hour of recitation a week, just answering questions, attending a weekly staff meeting or TA meeting where we go over the recitations and the course material for the week, and kind of not, and then being around in lecture to help answer questions or direct students towards the proper resources. So it was about a 3-hour-a-week commitment, I think, at the start, and it was a lot of fun. It really was. I just, unlike general chemistry, which is a lot of math, organic chemistry is a lot about pattern recognition and, oddly enough, drawing. You have to draw a lot to like demonstrate how chemicals interact, how electrons move and such. And I am very good at pattern recognition. That's where my strengths lie the most. I'm not good at like I won't memorize a name, but I can tell you everything associated with the name without remembering the name, sort of thing. Alright, I guess I was mistaken. This isn't the way to the Mantis Village, so I'll have to search around for a different location. I know Fog Canyon's not correct, because I haven't explored that at all. I guess we'll climb for now and see where I end up. But let me hit up this bench first so that I can mark my map progress. I do wish the map updated in real time, but I do like the idea that you have this need to explore. No, this is still wrong. That's where the house is. Well, if that's where the house is, I need to go up. Okay, I need to go one step up. I think. Yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, I remember now. This is where I need to go. But, so, that's where it started. It was kind of the minimum amount of effort I needed to put in. I also had to hold some office hours, I think an hour a week or so. And that was pretty easy to maintain. Alright, where do I need to go? I can go further to the left, and Fog Canyon's there. I legitimately do not remember how to get to where I want to go. So I guess for now, what I'll do is I will travel upwards and get to that bench, and then travel to the left and explore those areas that haven't been touched yet. But anyway, so that was my first year. I wouldn't quite call it the bare minimum. I ended up holding extra office hours, I believe, but obviously I was still in my early career, so I had a lot of. Or I was in my third year, my junior year, so I was dealing with the joy that is physics, which is a science that just does not mesh well with me. I mean, I feel like there was a part of an issue was the teaching of the course wasn't phenomenal, and I don't like discrediting professors where I try to avoid that, but I'm pretty sure this professor was like on the verge of retirement to begin with. And he was kind of an unorganized mess, unfortunately. He, on our first exam, he printed out the exam, but the exam was missing all of the diagrams that we had to do math and solve problems based on. But that actually worked out to my advantage. So I think it was a 17-question exam, and it was either 7 or 10 of the questions were missing diagrams that were necessary to solve the problems on that exam. Oh, wasn't paying attention. Should probably heal. But the exam was based. All he did was, he gave us a practice exam, and he told us outright, "I am going to take this practice exam, and these problems will be very exemplary of the questions on your upcoming exam. What I'm going to do is I'm going to twist these questions so that they're slightly different, but it'll be the same premise and similar math." And I had done that practice exam, and because of how good my pattern memory is, I memorized pretty much all of the numbers from the practice exam, and I was able to complete the uncompletable exam because I remembered the numbers, and I think the class average on that exam was like somewhere in the 45 to 55 range, and I got an 85 on it because I remembered all of the relevant numbers and diagrams. And thanks to that, I pulled an A in that course. Certainly my other exams in that course did not look too great. Is there... Hold on, I need to confirm. Can I might be misinterpreting there being an upwards path. Okay, so I want to go up and to the right. Okay. I'm just a little bit lost, but I think I know where I need to go now. It is hard to navigate both conversation and maps at the same time, so it would appear. All right, and then I want to go up. I want to go straight up in this room. Okay. Oops, almost killed myself there. But yeah, so physics was a bit of a mess, and that's not even to comment on the PowerPoints. Those PowerPoints were something special. He tried to put as much information on a slide as possible, and because of that, all the information overlapped on a single slide, so you couldn't actually read some of the things on the slide unless you attended the lecture where things loaded in piece by piece. but the printed notes were just completely uninterpretable for certain parts. There would be formulas for the exams just overlapping each other, and so sometimes you would read you could very easily misread it and just have the wrong calculations because you got a formula that was a combination of two formulae. It was just a mess. But anyway, so my first year teaching organic chemistry as a TA, I didn't do too much extra. But my senior year, for sure, one of our professors, the professor who had taught the course when I was a student, retired, and they were struggling to fill the position, unfortunately. And so they got a professor who taught the graduate organic chemistry course. And she treated because she had never really taught an undergrad course in a very long time, she very much treated the undergrads like graduate level students, assigning like multiple pages of textbook reading a week. And if you've ever been through undergrad or taught an undergrad course, you know that undergrads are not motivated to read the textbook, especially in a course that they're being forced to take that may or may not jive with their sensibilities. And so that was a hot mess. It was the lowest, we had some of the lowest class averages the course had ever seen. And the students were feeling the morale in the class was very low. And I took it upon myself to start recording organic chemistry videos, explaining the relevant course material to oh goodness, I am failing this platforming. I started recording videos about the relevant material to help the students, because I mean they needed some sort of outside resource to make things interpretable and doable for them. I should hit the bench before I go this way. And yes, those videos exist on YouTube. I'm not going to say where they are. If you find them, that's fine. But I'd rather kind of keep that separate from this. But yeah, that was my first time dabbling into YouTube content creation, and my goodness was my setup very rough. I was recording off of my cell phone, which, credit where credit is due. I have a Samsung Galaxy. I think back then it was the S3. The audio and visual quality was surprisingly good for a cell phone camera. I was very happy with. I mean, yeah, they're definitely low budget creations, but they did their job very well, and for the students, they were quite happy. A lot of them helped. And then on top of that, I also started creating something called the Comprehensive Answer Key, which I'm very proud of, not only because it was a project that I started and then other TAs started doing as well. We worked together, and it helped divide a lot of the work that I was doing. But I produced, like, I want to say at least 200 written pages of just comprehensive problems and their answers, and why certain questions were incorrect, or why certain answers to a given question were incorrect. Like, I didn't just say this is the correct answer and this is how you get it. I also went through the incorrect answers and said this is why you shouldn't get it, which I think in organic chemistry is really important, because organic chemistry is a lot of pattern recognition, but you have to learn both patterns that are correct and patterns that are incorrect or partially correct, because one of the fundamental rules of any sort of chemical reaction is we have major and minor products. Major products being what the majority of what a reaction produces, but even then, there's always a little bit of something else that's produced in most circumstances, unless it's a really consistent reaction, which not a lot of things are. You always get some degree of minor product. Oh, I don't need to heal. Oops. But I'm obviously proud of both the answer keys themselves and getting other people to kind of come together to make this resource for the students. But the other thing I'm most proud of is, so comprehensive answer key, and then it would be exam 1, exam 2, exam 3, and exam 4, which is the final. Abbreviated, it spells cake. And so everyone thought it was hilarious that I kept uploading cake to the forum or whatever the resource we were using to like share things produced by TAs for the students. It was I just kept up. It was just cake 1, cake 2, 2003, whatever, or well, not 2003, but cake 20. I don't know, 15, 20. I don't actually even remember when I was an undergrad. It was 2000 some time ago. Oh gosh, am I aging myself? Am I showing my age?
I am old and forgettable now.
Anyway, but yeah, it was a fun passion project, and the YouTube channel even more so. So I did not have a remotely good location to record the videos, and so what I ended up doing was for multiple nights a week, what I would do is I would camp out in the campus library, which had a bunch of these like classroom sort of settings, but they were locked after hours, so I would basically hide in the room, or someone would come by and say, "Hey, we need to close up. Can you lock the door and leave?" And I would say yes, and totally be lying, or rather, I guess it was a half truth. I was going to lock up and leave. It was just after I was done doing my recordings, I suppose. But obviously that's a little disingenuous. But I would camp out and pull almost full all-nighters to record these videos, and this is in the middle of class and everything too. So like I had to very much navigate time, but I would do like a full 12-hour recording session or something, just during the after hours on the days where I didn't have classes, and then just sleep the rest of the day. I'm very thankful that I have a nocturnal sleep schedule, because it seems to lend itself well to the projects I want to undertake. I don't actually know where I am. I hear a caterpillar friend. I think I want to keep going this way and go up. Let's go up. See what's over here. Don't think I've been here yet, but I could be very, very wrong. No, I've been here before. Okay. This is where I found Zote, I remember. Alright, I'm a teensy bit lost as far as where I need to go. Reminds me of my first playthrough, I suppose. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun recording those videos, and it was very clear that I was already establishing the fact that I am not good at placing boundaries on my work-life balance, or at least back then. I'd like to think I'm a little bit better, but I think you can very confidently attest to the contrary on that, and I need to be cognizant of that fact, unfortunately. But it is something I'm trying to be more aware and value more. My personal health and needs need to. Oop. I don't know why I have such a hard time with these roly-polies. I gotta be careful, or else I will die. Alright, that guy has one more hit left, so I just need enough soul to make it happen. Oops. Ah, what a waste. Uh-oh. This may be my first death. It's my first death! Hooray! We did it! Yeah. That one's a hard one to navigate and talk at the same time. I seem to be struggling with these roly-poly enemies a lot more than I would expect. Alright, so I think I'm at the upper rightmost bench, so I need to go back to the left. Anyway, where was I? Here we go. So anyway, but yeah, so organic chemistry taught me a little bit about video creation and lackluster editing. It taught me a lot of my interpersonal skills and how to teach. I got very good at explaining things from organic chemistry, because I discovered like how to like first start with the base, like just kind of building upwards from start with the big idea, then go into the smaller details and work my way up from there. And it's definitely a skill that I've honed over time, and it's worked very well for where my profession is now. But it's something I also want to go back to. I think at some point I will go back to that channel and really like complete it. I focused mostly on the second semester worth of material, because the first semester was not taught by the graduate professor, and then the second semester things really went downhill. Or I don't know if I should say downhill, but it really felt like it was. Oops.
Yeah.
Am I heading the right way? Presumably I am. I think I need to keep going up. But, oh, have I found this? The Greater Mind once dreamed of... Yes, I've found this before. I don't actually know where I am. Okay, I remember I passed you earlier. Let's just head straight back to that boss fight. Anyway, but yeah, it was cool that I got to like kind of get an early sense of what my career will be in terms of teaching. And I'm not a teacher, but what I do, I often have to teach people certain things. So there is a lot of client communication and education in my profession. So those skills were not wasted, for sure. And honestly, right now I'm looking to get back into teaching, so those skills will be even less wasted soon enough, I imagine, assuming I get a job in academia again. I'm a little disappointed that this is where my first death was, but it was bound to happen eventually. Alright, I'm going to focus a little bit and then I'll go back to my rambles. My mistake in the last attempt was that I should have focused down one instead of like alternating. See, now I only have to deal with one and it's a lot easier. I know these guys have given you trouble as well, so you can feel vindicated that you're not the only one who's had difficulty with them now. 1, 2, 3, and give me charge for one last shot. Oops, jump. I really wanted to hit that one. Oh, I died again. I wasn't watching my HP. That's embarrassing. I've never died on an overworld boss. I don't even know if those guys count as an overworld boss, but that's rather depressing. Well. Oh well. We'll get him on the third try. Assuming I don't die on the way there, which would be unfortunate if I did. Anywho. So, where was I? But yeah, so a big part of my character arc was the skills I developed both studying organic chemistry and then subsequently teaching it. And some of my proudest and fondest memories come from my time on the organic chemistry staff. I still visit the head of the department every year, and it's nice to see him like an old friend. I wonder how he's doing. I haven't talked to him in a while. Maybe while I'm home I should go visit him. But anyway, where was I? So, other things I did in undergraduate. So, like I mentioned before, my work-life balance was not fantastic. And in part that was because of all the time I spent teaching organic chemistry. As I got more and more into the program and found my love for the video creation and the cake creation, if you will, I also extended my office hours. I would have basically all of my free time was spent in the study room that they had designated for organic chemistry. I think it was like the chemistry resource room or something, so I would basically just stay there, and if no one was there, I would study for my classes, and if someone was there, I'd offer tutoring if it was another TA. Sometimes we'd chat. Sometimes I'd help the TAs out as well. But yeah, my life back in undergrad was very much centered around organic chemistry. And so, and to a degree, it still is. I mean, obviously, I haven't really touched the course in a while, but oh, it's still dead. Interesting. Huh? That's good to know. And a 3 and a 2 and okay, come on, friend, give me a bug. Ooh. There we go. Easy peasy. First try. That's really it? Nah, there must be something over here. Yeah, that's what I thought. An item. Balder shell. Oh, this is the one that I think protects me when I'm trying to heal. That's a nice one. I actually haven't really used it ever in my main playthrough. Anyway. Oops. There's a lot of oops today. I have to say, I'm rather quite tired. If that isn't showing. Not that I'm going to use that as an excuse for why I've died here, but it is part of the reason. The other reason is I stink. I am bad at the video games, obviously. But yeah. So other things I did during my undergrad career, I worked at an aquarium. It started off as I guess it's volunteered. I volunteered in an aquarium. It started off with me kind of teaching visitors to the aquarium about. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Is it a phone call that matters? Oh, it stopped ringing immediately. Oh. It's from Mom. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna pause the video here, and I'll call her back. Sorry about that. Should have turned my phone off. My goodness. Well, we're almost at the end of the episode anyway, so what I want to say is, that's my story with organic chemistry. A lot of my proudest accomplishments were made in association with teaching that course. And interestingly enough, even after I left undergrad, I continued to teach it for a while. I think a total of, now that I think about it, maybe not quite as long as I said I did before, but it was at least, I want to say 5 years I taught organic chemistry, and it was a good time. I'm very proud of what I accomplished in that course. But why don't we leave it there? I'm sure I will inevitably talk about my time in the Orgo course again later. But for now, why don't we call it a time there? And in the next video, I'll talk about the other things I used to do in undergrad, like my time working at an aquarium where I got to handle seals and sea turtles, and my time at the equestrian at an equestrian center that worked with special needs students. Well, with all that said, I hope you've enjoyed watching this. I'll hopefully figure out where I'm headed in the next video rather than just aimlessly falling into platforming traps. I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you're asleep, I hope you're sleeping well. If you're awake, I hope you're falling asleep. I love you, Kiwi. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, here we go.